Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Solar, your weekly roundup of the biggest stories in solar energy in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Aaron Nichols, the Research and Policy Specialist here at Exact Solar in Newtown, Pennsylvania. And I have a quick request. If you've been enjoying these news roundups, please take a minute to share today's on LinkedIn. This has become my favorite part of my job each week, and if you help spread the word, then we get to keep bringing you this weekly news roundup. So thank you very much. Even if you're just listening and you don't share, I have loved doing this. It is so much fun for me. Now, our first story this week is record-breaking battery deployment in Q1. The US battery market kicked off 2025 with its strongest first quarter ever. Developers added more than 2 gigawatts between January and March. Utility developers brought 1.5 gigawatts online, 57% more than Q1 last year. Residential batteries delivered 458 megawatts of that total. Remember, big utility projects that came online in Q1 were greenlit years ago, but that residential number largely reflects projects started just last winter. Cutting the investment tax credit, as Congress is proposing, could wipe out a quarter of expected battery deployment over the next 5 years and would hit distributed residential battery deployment the hardest. Next, Senator Cramer hints at a solar reprieve. On Tuesday, Senator Kevin Cramer said Republicans are re-examining the rooftop solar incentives they had cut from earlier drafts of the One Big Beautiful Bill. His words were brief. Articles on the topic quote him only as saying, "There is a little bit of work being done on rooftop solar." But markets jumped anyways. After his statement, Sunrun rose 21%. SolarEdge and Enphase climbed 18 and 10%, respectively. Both House and Senate drafts had scrapped the 30% homeowner credit and banned leasing companies from collecting the commercial credit. Cramer now says the final Senate language might be a little more generous than the House, easing the cliff that threatened billions in projects and thousands of jobs. Is it real or political smoke? We'll know when the Senate's final text is released and heads back to the House. And last, policy uncertainty triggers $1.4 billion in cancellations. New numbers from the bipartisan research group E2 show companies scrapped or paused $1.4 billion in U.S. clean energy factories and projects in May. That brings 2025's tally to $15.5 billion in abandoned investment in solar modules, batteries, and EV components across the country. Republican-held districts are losing the most. Over $9 billion in projects and nearly 10,000 jobs have vanished this year. Companies blame the Senate draft's early sunset of the 45X manufacturing credit and tough foreign entity sourcing rules. Yes, Rivian's planned supplier park in Illinois and a few other announcements added roughly $450 million last month, but the overall trend is sliding. If Congress can't deliver a clear, dependable policy path, analysts warn more cancellations and higher future power prices are on the way. Everything depends on what happens in the Senate over the next few days. Now, thank you for tuning in this week. As always, sources for everything we talked about this week are in the email below. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. We are having a great time doing this, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.